I don't know
And
what
hey
this
everyone.
number is.
Wow,
I don't know what I'm doing.
that's
Do it like a
awesome.
can.
What are you
Thank
doing?
you. I don't know.
Dude,
I'm
that was
just
awesome.
thank you. You s-
Uh
you you sound so convincing right now.
no, dude, you were super good.
Hi.
Hi everyone,
Hello.
welcome to the Playodic
Nope.
Podcast where we
Nope. Nope.
hyperfixate and
Nope.
what the
Hold
fuck
on.
are you doing? What
30-day trial podcast, not Playodic.
did I say Playodic? I even
You
said don't
definitely
say
did.
Playodic.
Yep. Have a little sticky note. Don't say play. Welcome to the 30-day trial podcast.
Welcome to
A
the podcast, everyone. And
podcast about hyperfixation, adult ADHD, and friendship, amongst other
ah,
things. And friendship. I love to tack that on because it feels good.
yeah, dude, friends feel good. Ask me,
They
I'm
do.
polyamorous.
Oh,
I'm sorry, that was
oh.
inappropriate.
Ah, as, as Megan the Stallion would say. I have a question.
Oh
You
no,
live in Texas,
I do.
so like because and I don't know why this has recently happened. This is the weirdest transition ever. But I don't know why this has recently happened. But the internet. And I assume it's because all my so many of my friends live in Texas. But
Right.
the internet keeps advertising houses to me in Texas, almost like it's encouraging me to move to Texas. Do I want to do that?
Have
I
you
don't
clicked
know.
on one of those links?
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
like
so then they're gonna they're gonna keep popping up because they know that gets your engagement, friend.
I
They
know
know you
that,
better than you
but
know you.
yeah, yeah, fair enough. But do I want to move to Texas?
Do
In
you
your
wanna move to
professional
Tex
opinion? I don't know.
I don't know. I think
There's certainly positives, but
there's
there's
definitely
also like
positives. There's also
extreme
negatives.
negatives.
Yeah, there's some I feel like the negatives are pretty out there. They're pretty like people are like, "Yeah, it's Texas." Every time you hear like, "Wow, that's some racist shit." It's probably
It's in
Texas or
Texas or
Arkansas.
Florida
Or
or
I mean,
Florida.
Florida's kind of a mixed bag though. They have a, just because they're it's like I don't know. Texas is interesting because there's a weird misconception because and I don't I don't want to get too divisive with
Sure.
politics and stuff because I don't think it's not black and white because
No, no.
it's always like I'm not red, I'm blue or whatever. I hate that shit. But
Yeah.
like
No, yeah,
uh
that's
but it's gotten pretty like let me put it this way. So
ridiculous.
Texas is uh overwhelmingly red in the rural areas, and then in the urban areas, it's overwhelmingly blue. So it's like it's constantly neck and neck.
What about where
So
you live? Hey, how about that
yeah, well, I
example?
live in Dallas, so
Yeah, I knew
it's
that.
like just probably below like Austin because Austin's very 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 blue.
Yeah, I
Um,
did know that. I know a lot of like California people moved to Austin, and I
yeah,
wasn't sure why exactly. I know like a little bit about it, but I was
it's
just like, that's odd.
yeah, it's not a simple answer. But yeah, tons of Californians coming in. I mean, you can tell purely if you drive anywhere, you see just California plates, and it becomes
Hmm.
evidently obvious when you're looking for a fucking house. So, because what was once a $200,000 house for which is really good for what
Hmm.
it was,
Yeah.
is now a $500,000 house because Californians are coming in swinging with paying with cash, which is awesome. Power to them. I'm glad that they're able to move. So they're about to
But
trade up so fucking great. But it's oh my god, it's
yeah,
ruining the market for everyone trying to get a house right now. So
some of the houses that have been advertised to me are in that kind of 260, 250 range. And I'm like,
yeah,
you get this much fucking house for that much money?
yeah,
Like it's impressive.
yeah.
And I'm like, huh, do I want to move to Texas?
Dude, my house has almost doubled in value in the year and a half I've lived here.
You
It
live
is
like a king.
bananas.
That's unreal.
It
That's
is
unreal.
unreal. It's value I'm never gonna see because I love my house and I don't want to move. But like
Oh yeah.
but it's interesting. Uh,
Yeah.
if I was to die or something. But there's also to the point where like me and my friends are actually talking about like what if we like took all the value that we have accrued and then moved somewhere else and got like a huge fucking house. But
Yeah.
we'd
That'd
have
be
to move
cool.
to like a flyover state. But still, um,
Yeah, and you really don't want to do that.
no, 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 no. I like
No.
having like my sanity, so
And I was
it's
gonna say
cool.
you like living and you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, and living close to Dallas is really, really nice. Like it's like all the like pretty much on every music tour, Dallas is in most music
It
tours.
is. I for example, like one of the things that made me sad was the original Misfits just did a show in Dallas like 2, 3
Hmm.
days ago.
Yeah, it's
And
always
I was
Dallas.
like, fuck, I would love to go to
Yep.
that, but,
They're always at the
so no.
factory or trees, and they're awesome venues. So
Yeah,
clean
so I don't know.
bathrooms, that's weird. It's you don't go to a
Yeah,
music
that is
festival
weird.
being like, I'm gonna comfortably pee and get a
Do you
drink on
have
the way. What's up?
So let me ask you, do you have a go-to, like, public bathroom that has treated you well? Like,
On the
like
on the note of Texas, Bucky's.
okay, it's Target for me.
Which is for those who are not in Texas or heard of it somehow. It's a I want to say it's a big chain, but there's only like a handful of them. They're Bucky's. They're
I don't think they're outside
comically
of
large
Texas.
gas stations. I think they recently started building in Oklahoma, but I could be
Oh,
wrong.
well,
Um,
North Texas.
yeah, yeah, it's a North Texas. Well, it's a Texas thing. I think it's on every major highway.
No, I
Uh,
meant Oklahoma is like North Texas.
oh yeah, Oklahoma is definitely
I'm
like a
sure
North
somebody's
Texas.
offended by that, so I
Oh, I'm
apologize.
sure yeah, it's fine. There's a weird feud. It doesn't fucking matter. We share a casino. Get fucked. But it's so it's eh,
It's
yeah,
fine.
it's
This is
fine.
Target for me.
It's
Target has
clean
really good
bathrooms. I
bathrooms.
don't
Yeah.
like if it doesn't have a bidet, which is my only. It's if it has a bidet which is only in my house. I'll save it up, man. Like it's fine.
No, agreed. I, uh I feel like a fucking caveman when I have to go poop at my office whenever I have to go in there
dude,
because there's no bidet, and I'm
dude.
like, I've been ruined by a bidet.
It really sucks. Like when you use a bidet one time, you're like, okay, that was weird. But
Yeah,
but then the next
but then
time
you
you
do it
use
again.
toilet paper, you're
Yep.
like, oh, I'm just smearing it around. I've been a
I'm just
caveman my whole life.
I might as well just rub it on the wall beside me
Yeah,
because, like, this is my life.
I remember watching the H3 podcast a long time ago, and Tom Segura came on, and he was like
He's
talking
great.
about bidets, and he was like, "Look at my chest," and he like showed his like hairy chest. He's like, "You think my
Yeah.
asshole's any different?" Like, imagine just taking cake and just
It's
rubbing it
just
into my chest, and then throwing me a paper towel and going, "Clean it up." Like, what do you think? Yeah, a bidet's better. Like,
Did you see the horrible injury that he got to his arm and
mm,
knee simultaneously?
no,
Oh
what
my
happened?
god. So this is a few I think it's like 2, 3 years ago. No, this was like in 2020. I think this was like in COVID.
I've been watching his workout progress, but
I don't know if he's full back, but he actually had it was so bad he had nerve damage in his arm. So what happened was they were shooting like a basketball video because like Tom can kind of dunk if it's like a
yeah,
certain height.
hmm
So he goes to dunk, goes up, his fucking ligament in his knee snaps as he's leaving the ground, and then his arm decides to just throw itself behind him. He lands on it and snaps it in half. We'll have to watch the video later.
no, we don't. That's
Yeah,
rough.
it's rough, but you need to I feel like you need to see it. So
I'll
he
watch it
blew
off
out
camera
his
and I'll see if it's okay for the podcast. But yeah,
yeah,
that's send me the link if you
yeah.
find it.
He he
Did he tear his ACL? Do you have any idea what it was?
I think it was his ACL, yeah.
Because that
It
happened
was
to me when
either
I was
his
playing
meniscus
lacrosse.
or his ACL.
Dude, I had the most embarrassing injury when I was playing lacrosse. I played lacrosse for 3 years in high school. The Ironman in Cyprus, and
I just love that that is, like, the most, like, Chad sport, and you were
I didn't
not
know it was a
the
Chad
most
sport until like I was like a year and a half into it. And I remember mentioning I played lacrosse to a couple people, and they're like, "Pff, "You would play lacrosse?" I'm like, "What the fuck does that mean?" I
I wouldn't
I
say
thought it was a
that.
nerdy sport because they go into it being like it's got a lot of historical value to it, and they're like, yeah, every time you went to like a professional lacrosse game, there's like dozens of people there. It's not big, and a lot of the there are a lot of the players are students, so at like Harvard, Yale, that type of thing. So I thought it was like a nerdy thing at the time.
You're
Apparently,
like,
it's not.
"Clearly, these
Uh,
young men" okay, I just
apparently,
sent
it's
you
been
the thing.
gentrified to shit. I had no idea.
Yeah,
Um,
Duke lacrosse is a real
oh,
thing.
I don't like the thumbnail of this.
It's rough, my man,
All
but,
right. Let's see
no,
what
I
happens.
anytime I think of Tom Segura, I just think of this, like, horrific thing that he did.
Oh, oh
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
That's no. We're not that. Oh,
no, you're
it's
not gonna
very quick. I will describe it for those who haven't seen it. It's just him jumping up, fucking failing immediately, and he
Yep,
just
it
lands on his
snapped
back on his
instantly.
arm. That why was that filmed and uploaded? But anyway, so
They were shooting other videos, like,
oh,
they
so
were
was
doing
it
other
live?
things. Yeah, They were it wasn't live, but they
Oh,
were,
okay,
like,
they had
filming
it on
videos,
footage. Okay.
doing, like, a dunk contest and, like, playing
Okay.
basketball with, like,
Oh,
a college player and stuff like that, just having a good time, having a laugh,
God.
and then Tom goes up and his fucking knee just and
Yeah.
because that
Knees,
happened, he
man, they
goes down.
suck. I was playing lacrosse, and I remember we were playing against the something Episcopalian Knights, something like that. If one of y'all are out there and somehow listening, fuck you. But so I remember, no, they're insanely good. So we were like, we're gonna lose immediately. Like we're going against one of the better teams in Houston. We're gonna
You just
get our.
don't strike me as a lacrosse because lacrosse is very physical sport.
It's
You
very
don't s
physical.
you do
As a
not strike me as a gentleman who is a very physical
I'm a
person.
runner. Well, I was a runner.
Okay.
I was very very I was a fast
I mean,
boy.
you're a big bitch, but, like,
Yeah, I got a wingspan. So I was a midfielder. Lacrosse is three basic positions: attack,
yeah,
midfield, and defense. Midfield or midi is the
yeah,
runners. Attack and defense can't change sides. Midfielders can go in between constantly. So you constantly have to run back and forth. It's hell on the ankles. Anyway,
yeah.
not to mention keeping track of that little fucking ball. That hurts like a motherfucker when it hits you. So you
That
have to catch it. Important part about a lacrosse is catching the ball. But anyway, so about catching the ball, we are on attack where all the midfielders in attack were on one end, and you basically like play a dancing move until you're able to get through their defense and score a goal. And they passed me the ball, and without anyone fucking touching me in this contact sport, I like moved my knee ever so slightly, and I heard a snap, and I just fell to the ground.
oh,
So basically, from the distance, you just saw this lanky white boy just go. When the ball was thrown at him. It's like, what happened? I heard my coach go, what happened? And I was just on the
what
ground, just like,
happened?
and they had to carry me off into a stretcher. I went to the ER. And
Oh,
it wasn't the ACL. I heard the ACL was damaged, but not like torn, because a torn ACL takes forever to heal.
yeah.
But it was
Well,
something
usually you
underneath.
would get surgery.
Yeah, it's you guys get sutures. It's not kosher. I was very grateful it was not my ACL. But when I remember how fuck it was one of the most painful injuries I've broken 3 bones. That I knee injuries suck. Anyway,
Thankfully, I've never broken a bone that I know of. I very likely have something wrong with my back. I think I've talked about this before. A guy in jujitsu was being a meathead. This is a few years ago. He played this, and this is not a technique that you would use. Uh, this is called being a meathead dickhead. He put his knee in like my lower back, like in my spine, grabbed me under my chin and grabbed my knee and pulled me like a bow and arrow until something snapped. Um,
pulled you like a bow and arrow.
yeah, so just like,
I like
well,
that.
not a bow and arrow. I guess he was like pulled me like that, like a wishbone. I guess I
Like a
don't.
wishbone. What do you wish for?
I
I
This
wonder.
is not an accurate description of anything. The words do not match. Anyway, fuck it. So,
I liked
yeah,
it.
it hurt, and I had like problems with my leg for maybe like 6 months. Like it would go like numb or like shooting pains down it. It, yeah, so it's fine now. My back's good now, but so that really sucked. But I've never broken a bone that I'm aware of.
That does surprise me. Especially with your
Drank a lot
jujitsu
of milk.
stuff. You've been doing jujitsu recently, haven't you? I
Yeah, I'm
picked it
back.
back up. I saw your new gi in Discord.
And I haven't used it once. Isn't that great?
What?
Like I've been yeah, well, it's because we've been
Not
doing
the dry
no-gi,
cleaners,
so
right? You've been doing
yeah,
what?
no-gi,
I
which
tasted
is
milkies. I'm like that. Go on.
milkies. Well, I've also been doing milkies. Big mommy milkies.
Thank you. Thank you. And
Yes,
what is
you're
that?
welcome.
What are those?
Uh so no-gi is like the gi for those unfamiliar is like the uniform that you wear. It's like the heavy cotton like, you know,
It's what those taekwondo nerds wear.
it's slightly different.
It's
It's way
exactly the
thicker.
same.
No, it's not at all. Those things feel like tissue paper. I could literally rip it off of someone
I remember
because
getting like chafe burns from those fucking gis in taekwondo.
yep,
They're
they will do
horrible.
that.
I don't. By the way,
Jujitsu will give
I
you
know
some
they're not the
serious.
same thing, but yeah.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I know. I know that you didn't. I knew you were just being an asshole
I'm
about
just
it.
being. I was gonna say facetious, but asshole.
Okay.
That flies. That's
That's
good. That's
also
cool.
I mean, no, no.
You were just being
But
a
no, I've
huge
been
cunt. That's fine.
yeah, you're just being a massive prick. It's fine. You're just being so disrespectful. I was just gonna let it go by and not say anything. Um, no, so Nogi obviously is you just don't wear the uniform. You typically wear like a rash guard and board shorts, or like some people, if they're like really fit and jacked and shit, will wear no shirt.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I don't want to fucking grapple with you because that's weird. I don't need your fucking like naked nipple pushed against my face. Like, so maybe we don't do that. But some people do it. Not me. Not me. But yeah, I've been back at it at a new academy that's 4 minutes from my house, which is fucking awesome because it's way better for like recovery and just like life in general. Because I feel like any time that you have to add like, and I'm sure as like a Texan, you're just like, oh
Mhm.
yeah, that must be fucking, but like when you don't have to add a 30-minute drive to like anything that you do, it's even better. Like this morning when I woke up, I was like, fuck, I slept like shit. I'm really tired. I could turn off my alarm and not go train and work out and everything. And then I was like, it's a 4-minute drive. You lazy asshole. Get out of bed. So I did. And I'm glad that I did. It was actually a really good session.
Nice.
So that's cool. Yeah. So I've been
Nice.
enjoying it again.
Dude,
I have a way different mindset this time too, which I think is a big deal.
what do you mean?
So, like, and this is a little bit of a longer answer, but my jujitsu journey has been quite a long one. Like, so r-
Jujitsni. Jujuni.
jujitsu.
No, that's not a thing.
So
Continue.
I started learning some like submission holds when I was a junior in high school, and it was with a buddy of mine who was he was actually the bass player of my band. He knew a guy who was like, like every fake fucking black belt that you've seen, like the I can kill a guy with, like my own breath, like those type of dudes.
Sure.
That's sort of how this guy was. Like he
Like
was
alpha
very,
man
yeah, he
who
just
told people
very
he was alpha, that type of thing.
No, it wasn't even that because like he
Okay.
couldn't even begin to make that argument that he was, but very much a bullshido kind of guy. Like
Gotcha.
just he knew a couple of things, but he was gonna train us. So like learned a few maneuvers from him. I kind of started watching a little bit of mixed martial arts. He was like, "Well, this is a good way for you to study and learn more. So whenever you fight," and I'm like, "Oh, that's okay. You'll have a better idea of what's going on." And I'm a lifelong professional wrestling fan. And one of the things that I've always enjoyed about professional wrestling is the more technical aspect of it. Like
Right.
the wrestlers who were like better mat technicians, things like that. Like I was interested in doing uh, wrestling when in high school, but I was lied to about the requirements of what you need to do wrestling in high school, which for those that don't know, you need literally running shoes. End of story. But at the time I was going to the rich kids school, and as a poor kid, they were like, "Oh no, you have to buy hundreds of dollars of equipment to come do this
Oh,
sport that
yeah.
requires no equipment at all." Because they didn't, because they were douchebags
Yeah.
and they didn't want me to come into their thing, which is
They
weird.
profiled you.
You would think like the easier way to bully me would let me come to the wrestling practice and then grind me into the mat, You would think
Right,
that would
right.
be
Yeah,
the
you make you an example. So you go back
yeah.
home and tell all the other poor kids, don't do jujitsu.
No, this was wrestling.
Go to taekwondo like the rest of the poor kids.
Yeah, go to taekwondo, you loser.
I did
Um,
taekwondo as a kid.
yeah,
I
me
I
too.
got to blue level 2, whatever that means, the whatever YMCA bullshit I did it at. But
Yep.
yeah, I did the dance. I did the whole memorize the dance in front of the council, and they shall bestow their judgment upon you, which shall be electric tape
Oh.
around your belt.
Yep, absolutely. 100% correct. So
Fucking weird things white people do.
it is. So after that, like I was watching TV and I saw this show called The Human Weapon. I don't know if you remember it or not. I think it was on Discovery Channel or something.
A
It was these
human
two
weapon.
dudes. It was these two dudes that would just kind of like go around to different parts of the world and learn that martial art. Like they would like spend a week or whatever with, they'd go to Thailand and learn Muay Thai. They'd go to Japan and learn judo. They'd go to America and learn Brazilian jiu-jitsu, which is kind of counterproductive, but
Isn't it?
um
I
there
think you'd go to
was
Brasilia.
you would think that. Well, so the reason why that was the case is because one of the guys, his instructor lived in America, and his instructor was this guy named Eddie Bravo, who created a subset of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu called 10th Planet Jiu Jitsu. This is my first real exposure to like grappling, and I was like, this is the most amazing thing I've seen because it doesn't use like, tugging and pulling. It's about your flexibility. I have pretty flexible hips. At one point, I could bend in all sorts of very interesting ways.
Go on.
I would have to show you.
Can
I'll
you
give you a pri
you have a I don't understand what the problem is,
I
but
mean,
I'll
like,
I'll,
I
I'll pick
can
up on your.
literally pull my fucking foot up
Whoa, we
right
don't
now
do
with a
foot
in the chair.
content on Playonic,
You
dude.
asked!
Come on.
You
We don't need
asked!
people hyper fixating on those things. Speaking of which, that's your 30-day trial right now. What day are you on right now? How long you've been back into jujitsu? 3 weeks? 4 weeks?
2 weeks?
2 weeks?
3?
Oh
2 or
damn.
3. Yeah, I think it's 2. I think it's just
I have
the
no concept of time. I'm a cat.
Yeah, it's been like 3 or 4 classes,
Okay, cool.
maybe 4.
Is it once a
Yeah.
week? Twice a week?
Twice a week.
That's
Well,
cool.
there's more. I've gone twice a week. I'm trying
And
to,
the
like,
wife's going
ease
with
my
you,
way
right?
back in it.
Or is it just you?
Huh? Nope. Just
Just
me.
you? Okay, cool.
Just me. But yeah, so, like, I started learning from books initially. Like, I would read, like, books and, like, work with my wife, like, "Okay, here, let me try this position," things like that. From there, I went and trained one time. This was, like, the weirdest thing. I was working at GNC, and the guy that worked security at Sears was also into, like, MMA and jujitsu and stuff, and he's like, "Hey, I have a couple of buddies that I train with. You should come out one time and train with us." So I drove to this dude's house, and went into his attic with, like,
Wow. You and I are
3
very
other
different
grown
people.
men.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
3 grown men,
There's like
and
three
there's
things
like a
in sequence that you mentioned where I would not be caught dead. Hey, you should do
looking back.
jujitsu with us. So I went to his house slash attic. Go ahead.
So I
You
go up to
fucking
his attic, and there's
psychopath.
like 3 other grown men that I've never met. The best part is, like, the dude who I talked to wasn't even there. So this dude that I've never met, I'm like, "Yeah, let's grapple." That was yeah, and we did, and went up there, and we,
Was
like,
there
worked on some tech.
alcohol involved? Did
Nope,
y'all still
nope.
write? What's
It
the
certainly does.
okay?
Looking back at it, it certainly
Uh-huh.
carries a certain weight about it, doesn't it?
Right, right,
Um,
right. So tell that
from
story one more time. Let me see if I
it
get it
was
to play. There we are.
so I went to the attic to grab to grapple with these men.
Uh-huh.
They were strong men,
And you've never
very
been to this
strong.
house before.
Never been to this house.
Okay.
There was a black leather couch. It was really weird.
That's
They
where we're
wanted me to
gonna
they wanted me to sit on it and tell a story to a camera.
Did you get the
Um,
gig or not? That's all I want to know. Skip to the end.
anyway, yeah,
Did
then
you
we
get
moved to Wilmington. Moved to Wilmington, North Carolina. I trained there for about a year and a
Yeah.
half, give or take. Then we moved back to the Charlotte area.
Okay.
I was away from it for a while, and then again got back into it. Did it for a while. Was super super heavily into it. Like did competitions and all that kind of stuff. But a combination of things. I mean, this kind of works for the podcast and hyperfixation and things like that. I was
Right.
super hyperfixated on it. I mean, I was instructing. I was not getting paid to be an instructor. I was a kids instructor at that. I was told like, oh well, when we get X a number of kids, your membership won't. You'll be free, and we'll give you uniforms and stuff like that. Never got to that point, obviously, but um, it was hard. There was a lot of pressure from a mental and emotional standpoint
Hmm.
because my instructor at the time had a background in wrestling, more specific catch wrestling, which is wrestling with submission holds. It's very brutal.
Mm.
It's very violent, um, and it's very toxic from like a toxic
Fascinating.
masculine from like a toxic
Yeah, yeah.
masculinity
I mean, every
standpoint.
community's got that to some
Yeah,
degree.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu itself,
Your classic gatekeeping.
yeah, it has a lot of for all the positive qualities it has, it does have a lot of like toxic negative qualities. I mean, for example, like if you got hurt, well, if you're not bleeding, keep going. Um,
Love that. because
Yeah,
it's
which is
only
like,
an injury if there's
there's
blood.
definitely no
We all
thing as
know
invisible
that
ink.
one.
And the best part, you're paying to do this. You're not doing this for free, you're paying money to have this happen.
Yeah,
So,
you paid and signed a waiver,
yeah.
which waves away the lucrative aspect of this.
Yes. So I had gotten to a fairly bad point. I was overtrained. I was pretty beat up. I had gotten a couple of concussions, and then my back got hurt. And at that point, I was like, I'm done. My wife pointed out like how bad that it got because like so at the time I would have to get up at 5 a.m. to get to training at 6 a.m. because, like 5 a.m. I'd have 30 minutes to get ready, leave the house, get there by 6 because it was like 30-minute drive. And used to be like I'd prep my gear the night before, make sure it got like my gi in the bag, like my defense soap wipes, my
Right,
mouth
right, right,
guard,
right, right.
water, all that kind of shit. Uh, and it was just like a thing I did. Like I never really said anything about it. It was just like I would do it. But she's like, I knew it got bad because you would get so mad the entire time while you're like packing a bag. She was like, you just the whole time you were so angry. You're like, this is fucking bullshit. And I was in a bad place mentally and I needed to step away. The best part though is I go to talk to the instructor. I'm like, hey man, I need to step away. Like I'm not in a good place. Like I'm really physically I'm in bad shape. Like my back was fucked up. And at the time I didn't have insurance either. So that was a cool thing. Because I was a contractor, so contractors don't have insurance. But I was just in a really bad place mentally, and emotionally. Like, I competition was very hard, and there was a lot of pressure to compete. I put a shitload of pressure on myself. And when you don't succeed, when you put a lot of pressure on yourself, it's even worse, and it goes in like really bad directions and negative areas. So I was in a bad way, and I need to step away. And I told him that, and he was like, "Just give it one more month and see." And I'm like, "My man, you are not listening to a word that I'm saying." And he's like, that bullshit of like the instructor knows better than you. And I'm like, I don't think you do. But I took time away. And that was hard too, because like I would get really mad because I would see like guys that I trained with that were lower rank than me get promoted. And I'm like, fuck, that could have been me. Like
Mm,
I failed and like really would beat myself up and feel like I failed, as opposed to like, no, you made a very healthy decision for your physical and mental well-being to step away from this thing. You didn't fail at it. You made the choice to step away for positive reasons. And eventually I got to the point where like that left my brain, where I wasn't being negative anymore, and I was like, if I ever were to do it again, I would have a different mindset. I
mm,
wouldn't care about competing. I would kind of be a dick if people tried to be like, "Oh, you need to be doing this." I'd be like, "I'm not gonna fucking stay here anymore. See ya." Because it's like I was in control. Like I'm paying money. I get to do what I want to do. Like if I'm not feeling you, I'm out. So
mhm,
that's kind of where I'm at now. I don't care about rank belts, I don't care about that. I don't care about competition. It's nothing I want to do. It's nothing I'm interested in. I just want to get in good shape and learn. I legitimately enjoy learning jujitsu. I like teaching it too. Like I actually enjoy helping people learn it, but I'm just not. I'm not alpha male, bro. Andrew Tate would hate me. He would be like, "What are you doing?" So yeah, that was a long answer to your question, but it's been a
sparkling
long
water.
journey. Yeah. So yeah, I'm in a way better place now than I was, which I think is really good. I hope that answers your
You have
question.
thoroughly answered my question, sir.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad. I
So
feel
what
like it's
is
important.
jujitsu? No, I'm kidding. So
Well,
back the fuck up. What is this shit? Who are you? Actually, where am I? Uh, so my fixation recently. So I had an interesting week. So I
yeah.
we geez, Sumner, can you start a sentence for fuck's sake? Uh
You've started like four sentences, and all of
I
them were
know.
interesting.
So,
It's good.
I had a full work week last week, right? Work is work.
Yep.
That's not interesting. So, but then I had so many like back to back like parties or things like, to look forward to. I love weekends like that because
Yeah.
the Saturday night was a phenomenal Halloween party
Looked like a great
that
time from the
was at a
pictures.
house that is my good friend Dorian, him and his wife or fiance have been working on for a long time. So we all kind of got houses around the same time, and he and her had been posting like their progress. They got
That's
super into
awesome.
like house flipping and stuff like that. It was fascinating to watch. All of our friends were like watching them like over Instagram and stuff like, and like we have a home improvement chat where we talk about like, so what kind of grout do y'all use, like that kind of stuff. So
I love that. I love that.
it's really wholesome actually. And the more and more of us get houses, the bigger the chat gets. But it's fascinating. And so we were at the Halloween party, and they spared no expense. It was very nice. Their house is gorgeous. And it's nice partying where like everyone's kind of like in their late 20s, early 30s, where everyone's like respectful. I remember there was a spill and like 9 people went to go clean it up. It was very cool. It
I
was
had a literal exact same thing happen
yeah,
when we had our
it's
Halloween
it's
party.
really nice. Like
Now I will let
and
you finish, but that reminds me to tell you a funny story from my Halloween party.
yeah, I want to hear about it. But yeah, so I and also as a surprise, Gup from Playodic
He
drove like
did,
seven
which was
hours.
so cool.
Yeah, he stayed at Zach and Maeve's house and just like came to the party. I was like, I saw him the first time. He's like, Sumner, good to see you in person. And at first, Gup, if you're watching, I didn't
Like,
know
I
who
don't
you
know.
were. I
He's like,
was
"I have
just
no idea."
like, and I'm not a good liar. So like I think I was a little rude. Like,
Did you
thanks for
Elijah Wood
being
him?
here, dude. I didn't know if I went to high school with him. I didn't know. And then
You're
he
like, "I
did
don't
look
fucking know,
familiar,
dude."
but he was also in costume. So like he was in like a
Which is
pirate
hard.
type thing. It was very R. And him and his partner were there, who's also extremely nice. Um, so I went to go over and I was like, "Hey Dylan, is that Gup?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's Gup." I'm like, "Oh, thank God." Okay, I thought it was him. I just wasn't sure.
I
And
like
the
that you asked Dylan to make sure.
what's worse than not recognizing someone is thinking there's someone else. Like
Is
that
that
is
John?
is that like, hey Ralph, hey Jordan or whatever the fuck, and like
Definitely not.
it's not, and they'd be like, wow, he hates me, like I'm so insignificant. Like no, like I thought it was Gup. I wasn't confident enough going into it, so I was just like,
That's
I don't
fair.
want to look like an
But once you
asshole.
realized,
Oh, once I realized it, I approached him again and I was like, "Hey, man, thanks for coming down or whatever." And I got the whole. Anyway, that was really fun because
good,
I don't
good.
see Zach very often. I see Dylan all the time. So Dylan, Zach, me, and Gup were there, and we got a photo. We put it in the Discord. It's really cute.
It was good. Yeah, it was very nice. I was
But
like, "Oh,
I got remarkably drunk. I haven't gotten drunk in a very long time. Um, I did not drive home,
nice."
but also didn't drive there, so that's not weird. So and then I spent the entire day the next day recovering. I didn't get
Yep.
hungover, but I slept the whole day, the entire day and night. So
Yeah.
the following day, I thought the party was yesterday. It was not. It was 2 days ago. I just had a
Because you
coma.
slept an entire
I
day.
slept the whole time, and then we hosted Halloween. So my wife and partner and other friends are Wiccan, and they practice witchcraft and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So on Samhain, on Halloween, they had like a whole thing. They all dressed in black. I took them to a witch store. It was really
Oh,
cute.
yeah.
They did a whole thing. They put together a bowl for like the afterlife and stuff. Like of all like but bits and pieces of what we made. We made a bunch of pastries and stuff. It was very cute, very fun. And then the day after, which was yesterday, me and Heather went to a little cabin place called Getaway Cabins. I'm not sure if you've heard of them.
Nice.
I've seen them trending a lot. I'm not sure if it's because I've gone to them. I get targeted them, but they're like these little outfitted trailers that are like outfitted with like. I want to say it's not. I want to say shiplap. It's not shiplap, but like wood on the inside. They're like
Yeah,
modern.
yeah.
They have like kitchenettes. They have full plumbing, electric, and it's glamping. But
Yeah.
it's all in a very compact space. They're recognizable by the big bed and the gigantic window that faces the
Oh,
nature.
yeah, I think I've seen those
Yeah,
before. Yeah,
you've
yeah,
probably
okay.
seen them like
Mhm.
wood
Yeah, yeah.
insides and ceilings. Really nice like inset lighting. It's really nice. And we just spent
Yes.
the entire time in there. We
Nice.
yeah, we it was awesome. So
Nice.
no, no, we had so many snacks. She was reading her
Even
book.
better.
Potato Man and the Play Out community sent me a comic book about Superman, so I was reading that the whole time.
Nice.
Yeah, we made s'mores and stuff. It was very cute. So we got back from that about this morning. Um,
That's awesome,
and
dude.
then tomorrow's work, and I have a 2-day work week, which I'm excited to see the shit pile that is waiting for me next. So
Yeah, that's always fun.
but so that's how I'm doing. I had a much needed vacation, with just back to
You
back to
did.
back fun stuff. And I have been drinking for about 5 days straight, and I'm ready to continue.
I'm ready to just keep going. What we got there? We got a nice Chablis. We got a little
Uh, it's some type of champagne. I didn't read it, and
nice
some grape juice.
Corbel.
I no.
That's uh, that's
Honestly,
probably
I did
my
not
wife is
even glance at it. I have no idea.
nice.
I was like, "This is booze, and it's sparkly. It's perfect."
Hell yeah.
I like
So
mixing wine and stuff with juice, so it's not just wine. So I can drink a little bit more of it, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
nice,
So
cool.
anyway, you said you had a party incident where the
Yeah.
spill?
So a few weeks ago we had what we called like our housewarming slash Halloween party because we've lived here for almost 2 years and hadn't had a housewarming party yet because of you know the vid. But as we've gotten through several boosters and vaccines and stuff, we were like, okay, we'll have people over finally, and
Mhm.
it was around Halloween, so we're like, fuck it, we'll do that. And it's funny because you mentioned like, oh, it's great when everybody's like in their late 20s and
Yeah.
30
They're
early 30s and
conscious.
stuff like that.
They also have
Yeah,
property or an apartment they care about. Yeah.
exactly, which is really nice because like that happened. Like somebody spilled their drink and like four people were like, "Oh,"
Yeah, yeah.
my dog
It's cleaner
peed
now
on
than it was before.
my couch a little bit, which
Aw.
is not unusual for him. Like he'll do
Okay.
that sometimes. And like four people were like, "Oh," helping like clean it out,
Oh,
like
that's
helping tend to
sweet.
tend to the boy.
That's
Um,
interesting.
but the funniest thing is, one of my friends, my oldest friend in the world. Um, so I don't drink. He does,
That's right. You're better than
and
all of us. I mean, we know.
no,
We know.
well,
Go ahead. Go
you
ahead.
said it. But another friend of mine brought us a housewarming gift, which was a bottle of whiskey. Very nice gift. Like I don't drink, but I still appreciate.
It'll look great on the cabinet.
Well, eventually it'll get drunk. Like it's a good thing, Like if we were to go to like,
Does Courtney drink?
yeah, she does.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so she drinks, and then, like, if we were to have, like, a Thanksgiving and have family over and somebody wanted a glass of whiskey, they could have a glass, that sort of thing. Like, I'm like, it's not gonna
You're
really
not gonna throw it
go
away. I
bad.
get it.
Yeah,
Go
we're not gonna
ahead.
throw it away, it's fine.
So you have a
And
bottle of whiskey. The scene is
a
set.
and my friend, fuck it, I'm gonna say his name, he didn't watch the show. My friend Jerry,
Fuck
um
you, Jerry. No, I'm kidding. Sorry,
he
I'm
he
kidding.
cu he c he didn't drive as well. He
uh
came with another one of my friends, who drove him, so he had his designated driver, and he
Right.
decided, that he was going to get, fucked up at my nice housewarming/Halloween slash Halloween party, um, which was an odd choice because most people had, like, a beer, maybe 2, and we're, like, nursing it for quite some time, and he comes over to me and he's like, "Where's the Jameson at?" For context, I have not had Jameson in my house for a decade, I think. Like, it's
Was he
not
just
the
being
like,
colloquial? Like, hey, where's the Windex at, homie? Like, where's the
no, he was legitimately like, "Where's the
specifically
Jameson?"
Jameson?
My wife,
Everyone's
when
got
she does
Jameson.
my wife, when she drinks whiskey, she does not drink Jameson and hasn't for several years. Like,
I
she has
prefer
another
myself a
whiskey.
Jim Beam. I have no idea. Whiskey's
Yeah.
whiskey.
And I was like, "Oh, well, I mean, like, there's it was actually a bourbon. It wasn't a whiskey, it was a bourbon." And I was like,
Fireball, sir. Would you like
"Yeah,
fireball?
well, so no, like, that's the thing, we don't because, we've been trying to have a
For the
baby, like,
refined palate.
we don't really have any alcohol in the house, like,
Right, right. I don't either because I
so
drink it. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Same thing. Exact same thing. You're drinking it, we just don't have it. But I was like, "Well, there's that right there if you wanna have a little bit of it." I didn't realize that he was gonna end up drinking the entire bottle by himself.
So did you end up cleaning his pee off the couch too?
Thankfully, no. Thankfully, no. He didn't, like, vomit or anything, but at one point, he was dressed as, like, when the part in Beetlejuice where he's dressed up as, like, a cowboy?
Yeah.
He was dressed as that, but had, like, this
Specific.
shitty wig. He had the worst makeup, and he was fucking blitzed out of his mind, so he looked like this sad murder clown because the makeup was, like, all runny, and we had,
Was he like a
we had
burden
like
drunk? What kind of drunk we talking? Because there's a couple different types of drunks. There's messy drunks, there's quiet drunks, asleep drunks, vomiting drunks, and what was he?
he's definitely a burden drunk.
A burden drunk is the worst,
He's
man.
definitely a
I
burden drunk.
remember getting my friend. I got my friend burden drunk, and he was. Let's just say he was like a cherub out of both ends. And I was on. I I remember I remember I was the only guy that knew him at the party, and because I invited him, I was designated poo bitch. So I was cleaning up after him, whom I was closer with afterwards. I will have you
I
know.
was about to say you
I
certainly crafted a close relationship after that, I would imagine.
I concocted a very interesting scenario for myself.
He
I'm a very good friend. God damn
did
it!
this so this was actually one of the better times for him to be honest. Like this is this was not as bad as previous times. He did get a little weird because like he he's very lonely,
Yeah.
and he was talking about like, "Oh, am I
Oh
the only single
no.
guy here?" And I'm like, "Oh, like, my wife's
Uh,
best friend was also here, and she was also single." And I was like, "Oh, like,
was he
Amanda's
wasted
single."
by the time he mentioned this?
Fuck yes, like
Sir, you did
annihilated.
your friend a disservice.
He was like, I mean, like,
That
well,
poor
should I like
girl.
hit on her?" And I was like, I
That
mean, you
poor
could just
innocent
talk to
single
her
girl.
like a human being if you wanted to talk to her. And then that was it. Like he didn't say anything else for a
Yeah.
while later. And then like I take the dog out and he goes out, he stumbles out with me and he's like, I feel like she's got like a force field up. Like I can't like hit on her really. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
mean, you could just talk to her because you're 35 years old.
I
You
think you're so
fuck.
drunk you can see the personal bubble. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not a
It was,
force
and
field. You just
then
have to keep your distance.
at the end of the night when he was leaving, he apologized because he apologized to her because and he told her that he was supposed to he apologized for not hitting on her more because he was supposed to. And I'm like, and
Drunk
literally he
logic.
does this in front of like 5 or 6 other people and
Oh, I
everybody
feel
was
for
like,
her.
"Oh," cuz it was awkward as fuck.
Did she know
Um
did she know who he was?
yeah, they've
Okay.
met multiple
Okay.
times. Yeah, they know each other.
I'm sure that was
But
a blossoming
it
friendship
was
afterwards.
fucking awkward. But
Yeah.
the next day he was like, "Oh no, that was a joke. I was trying to be funny, but when you're drunk, like the jokes aren't." And I'm like, "Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah."
Yeah, yeah.
But one really funny aspect of that,
A classic I
so
was joking. I
yeah,
love it.
so we had some pickled garlic, because we had like a spread of like food, like chips and pretzels, and I had
Is
some
this
pickled
getting to
garlic.
the spill?
Oh no, the spill was inconsequential ultimately, but this is the end of the story. That was the only
How?
spill
What
thing.
was the punchline? Okay, go ahead.
But the punchline was the drunkenness in that, like, because
I'm
that was
like
like my
waiting for
thing.
a spill to be close to
I told
happening.
you
And
the
I'm like,
spill. Yeah, look,
so she's holding a drink and she almost spills it. But then just the story kept changing. And I'm like, where's liquid?
oh,
Anyway.
I mentioned like a spill had happened and people cleaned it up. Anyway,
Son of a
so
bitch.
he went to fucking town eating this pickled garlic, like just
Uh, and he did
like
not
he
spill
ate
it.
literally half the bowl.
Okay.
Didn't spill it, but apparently he told me the next day, like he went home and like passed out in a chair. And he said his mother the next day was like, "What did you eat last night?" And he's like, "What? Why?" And she goes, "Your mouth stunk so fucking bad. Your father had to leave the room because apparently he was like passed out in a chair, drunk, mouth open, snoring like a buzz saw, and he's filled with bourbon and pickled garlic
Can
and
I?
just stunk up the room."
So speaking of stinking up the room, I have a fart scale, right?
Mhm.
Where have you seen Encounters of the Fourth Kind or
Close
Fifth Kind?
encounters of
Is it Fifth
close
Kind?
encounters of the third kind.
Third Kind? Whichever. Anyway,
Yeah.
doesn't matter. So I believe this is a completely irrelevant. So you said smell, and that's all I needed. So I think farts come in farts of the first kind, second kind, third kind, and fourth kind. Where the first kind, and I want to get your input on this before I show you my
Yeah.
hyperfixation.
Okay.
The first kind is like a silent, but it's cool. It's all bark, no bite, right? And then we got farts of the second kind, which are like, okay, that smells bad. I thought it wasn't gonna smell, but here we are.
Yep.
And then third kind is like, okay, wow, what the
What
fuck?
did I do?
Like, dude, this is bad. And then fourth kind is like, do we need to go to the doctor? Like, this is like not okay.
Like,
And like you will call a lot of third kind farts the fourth kind because it's
yeah.
funny and cheeky, but then you have a fourth kind fart and you're like, we need to evacuate. Like this is like I embarrassment does not even like
They
cover it.
burn into your memory because I
Yeah.
very specifically have a fourth kind fart that I will forever have etched into my soul.
I have one as well. And I want you to go first.
Okay. So there was a period of time, years and years and years ago, my wife and I were on this insane homemade taco kick. We literally
What a
ate
great
tacos.
preface.
We ate
Mine
tacos
is
like
very similar.
we ate tacos like
Mine's
5
microwave
days.
burritos. Continue.
Okay, so yeah, we ate tacos like 5 days in a row. Like we were just going to town, just eat. They were
I
it, we
love me a
could
taco.
me
Right.
too. Like I want a taco right now just thinking about it.
Me
But
too.
we were just eating them constantly. We just couldn't get enough of them. They're so delicious. I worked and at the time I was working at a land center and we were doing a midnight lock-in. So, it was like midnight to like 7 the next morning or whatever. And everybody would get locked in, they'd play games all night and have a great time.
Mhm.
We were across the street. The store was across the street from the water treatment plant. Well, they had like a leak or a spill of some sort, to that required us to like evacuate. Like we literally, they were like, "Hey guys, we're sorry, we gotta have you leave." Like, whatever. And it's like, okay, cool. So it was so bad that like they had shut down areas of the road to prevent like people from like driving through and driving past it. Well, we're driving out. So as we're driving out and we see like the cop, there's a police officer and I fart. And it smelled so bad that I thought
Did it
something was
smell bad,
wrong
like,
with me.
instantly, or were you like,
Oh
"Okay, I'm in the
yeah, it
clear,"
was
and then
like
it hits you like a truck?
it was so bad, and we're, like, gagging and coughing, and then this lady cop
Oh, no.
waves at us to stop because we're leaving the area with the spill, and Courtney, like, inches the window down because
That
we
is a
don't want her to
nightmare.
smell the fart, and it was so, like, "Oh
She
god,"
probably
and we're
thinks
like,
that you're trying to, like, unload, like, "Quick, get rid of the weed," and you're
well,
like,
yeah, no, because we're, like, laughing too because we're like, "Oh my god, it smells so bad," and we're, like, hysterically laughing. We're like, "She's gonna think we're on fucking drugs because she's gonna smell this rank ass smell coming out of the
"I
car."
want to search your car."
No, it was
Yeah,
fine. She let us go because we were like, "Oh, yeah, we were blah, blah, blah." And she's like, "Okay, good." We roll up the window, and then we start laughing because we're like, "Officer, look out, there's a leak, and it's coming from me." Like,
it's
it was
oh,
but I'll never
wow.
forget it.
That's
That
God,
was the
I
worst
so
one
mine the one that
ever.
comes to mind
Most
for me,
recent.
most of my fourth kinds are with other people. They're coming from other people and I'm having to deal
Yeah.
with it. But the
Okay.
one from me is
Oh,
actually from high school. And I remember I was on a kick of eating 2 microwave burritos every morning for breakfast.
they
A
large
bean and
burritos?
no, they're very small.
Oh, okay, little
Like the little
guys.
frozen ones that you see like in
Yeah,
little
yeah, yeah.
packages that come with like 12.
Yeah.
Um, I lived on those when I was in community college. Anyway, uh, I remember like I remember just sitting in a science class, and I don't know. I moved around a lot, so I know like science rooms are different in every state. But the ones
Yeah.
in Texas, at least, are these big, like black, almost chalkboard like tables.
Hmm.
And like rooms have dividers most times, so you can always like make it bigger if you needed to.
Yeah.
But so this was made bigger. This is a large room. This is a double stacked room, huge class. And I think her name is Miss Lumpkin. Such an unfortunate name for a teacher. And so, I remember she was just talking, and I remember just like having like an uncomfortably hot fart, and I was just like, and then I was just like, I'm sitting next to
Was it quiet?
someone, and then I have 2 people across from me, and then I immediately forget. I'm just like do do do, focusing on my work, blah blah blah, and then the
Yeah.
person next to me, of course, goes, "What the fuck?"
Was it
Like
quiet? Or were
a weirdly in hindsight, a weirdly long time afterwards. So
okay.
there is room for doubt, but not a lot. Where To the point where I forget 100%, like 100% forget. This
Yeah.
did not happen. So my acting is top notch, where I'm like,
Were you
wow,
like,
that smells bad. I didn't
"What?"
recognize my own brand. It was horrid. And I remember people across the class were like, what, dude, shut up. What do you, oh my God, like that realization. And,
Oh.
and then, and then Miss Lumpkin was like, guys, can you, oh, oh,
Is there a spill in
we
the
had
room?
to evacuate the room. We left the room. Everyone got their backpacks and we lined up outside. And I remember
Jesus
being
Christ.
outside going, this is so weird. That was that that may have been me.
Was the okay, but did the fart make a noise when you did it? Or
No,
was you Oh,
completely
man.
silent. And I hate the silent but deadly thing, but this shit was not this there's funny silent but deadly, and then this was not funny.
This was like
This
someone could be harmed by this.
this was a science experiment. That's what this was.
Okay.
It was
It gone
really
wrong from the
it's
sounds of
like
it.
we dissected something and then I
Yeah.
ate the dissection and then it's like I ate farts for a week.
Formaldehyde eating out
Yeah,
of you.
unbelievable. Anyway, back to hyperfixations, everyone. Thanks
Yes.
for coping with my ADHDness. And I like fart humor, so deal with it. I don't care.
Yes.
Um, so another fun thing. So I have a 2-day work week this week, and then next weekend is Texas Renaissance Festival, which we look forward to
And
every year.
that's exciting.
Our entire friend group gets together. It's like 80 plus people. We have a huge Facebook group for it. We're called the Cuddlebarians. We have like an insignia. We have flags. It's awesome. It's a whole village. We only go one weekend a year. It's the Barbarian weekend, and people fly in. They drive a long time for it. It's like a
How far is
it's
it
our
to get
thing.
to there for you?
For me now,
Mm,
it's really close to the Buc-ee's actually, which I mentioned in between Houston and Dallas. It's actually in a place called Todd Mission, Texas.
okay.
Um, it's an awesome festival. If anyone has the chance to go or have heard about it, I highly, highly recommend it. You don't need a costume. People aren't in character. It's just a fun vibe, especially if you camp.
I
So
love the
there's the whole
reindeer.
festival, which is like from like 9 to 7 or something like that. Tons of merchants, and
Yeah.
all the merchants are like in buildings that are made specifically for this. They're hard buildings. Some have AC, some don't. But most don't. A lot of like axe throwing, arrows and stuff like that. Tons of like rides and stuff like that. Like really small rides, like little
Yeah.
swings and stuff.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
most of
yeah.
it's
It's just
merchants,
like ours.
clothing, jewelry, weaponry, stuff like that. Lots of food. Food is the main attraction. Lots of live performances that are top fucking notch. Awesome, really, really cool stuff. Maeve, her family is actually like neck deep in the community that works there and stuff like that. So
Which is awesome.
yeah, so tons of TRF people. Anyway, TRF is awesome, and the camping scene is the camping scene. It's from Friday through Sunday evening,
Yeah.
and there's a huge fuck off bonfire.
How's the
Um,
orgy?
People are just I don't, they're I have no idea.
Almost got you.
I mean, it's kind of presumed there's lots of drugs and alcohol in the midst. I remember one of my first years there, I went to go witness like it was like a like strip Jenga or something like that. I was like, wow, this is like not something I'd
This is
expect. Tons of like naked people just like going around. It's like what you imagine Burning Man. It's gotten a lot
okay.
more
Yeah, yeah.
tame in the past couple of years because it's gotten so popular they had to increase police presence.
Yeah.
But the police there know what's going on. They're more there for safety. Like it's
Yeah.
so like there's naked people out and it's fine. Um, but there's
Very
still
different experience for my Renaissance
very
festival, I'll be
but it's
honest.
it's the camping scene. And I don't do
Mm,
any of that, but I'm just like I'm telling you like what the
yeah.
spectrum looks like.
Yeah.
Um, and we mostly hang around the campsite. Well, sometimes we'll go from campsite to campsite, just like getting like, drunker and just meeting random strangers also in costume and just fucking around. I remember there's actually like there's a bondage specific camp that's always doing like shows and stuff like that where they have guys and girls like hanging from these things and it's
Oh,
really
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
cool. It's just a very positive environment. It's not like
Yeah. That's
a
cool.
yeah. It's the energy is very positive. It's very nice. It's very wholesome. Is what I want to say. Even
Yeah.
though it sounds like it's not, it is.
No, no,
Um,
no, no.
so
I'm just giving you a hard time.
every time it's come, well, I want people to know that it's not
Oh, fair
like
enough. Yeah.
it's not like the sex, drugs, and alcohol, the devil's here kind of shit. It's just fun, and that's as far as it goes.
It's good,
Um,
clean fun. Damn it.
yeah, it is. Obviously, safety and blah blah blah. But anyway, so costumes are a big part of it. Me and my friends, we do a lot of like armor work and not armor work. We buy armor
They
and we
always
wear
look
it.
great.
But lately I've gotten back into leather work has been my hyper fixation. So I kind of did more to my belt.
Yeah, I gotta see this because you've sent me some pictures previously.
This is
So,
kind of what it looks like
oh
now.
man,
So
it looks awesome.
thank you. It's very squeaky because it's still new. I didn't make the pouch, but I made the book holster
Very nice.
with like snaps and a bunch of fucking rivets, as you can see. I made it house 6 little throwing knives. I couldn't help myself. I almost actually cut the ends of the throwing knives to file them down to look like crescent moons. I thought that would have been
Oh,
kind
that'd
of
be cool.
cool, right?
Yeah.
But I don't have time. I
Is that
don't.
your mace or sword? What is that?
This is my sword.
Okay, it
It's
was just a
it's
very
it's
strange handle.
it's piece tied right now. Yeah, it's really long.
Oof.
Uh, yeah, it's like a two-handed. It's based on like a Chinese Dao. Um,
Oh, okay. That makes sense then.
yeah,
It's very yeah. That looks
and then
fantastic,
I
dude.
made these
You did an
right
awesome
before a
job.
stream. Actually, I actually finished the last rivet, and you messaged me, being like, "Hey, I'm in OBS Ninja."
Hey,
That's what you sound like to me. Hey, I'm in
good.
OBS Ninja. My name's Mick. I'm just
I don't
kidding.
know what
That's
you
not what you
sound like
sound
to
like.
me.
What's your impersonation when you're saying like Courtney, like when you're reading a message from me? What do I sound
Oh,
like?
I don't usually do it.
Hi, I'm
You don't.
Sawyer.
Nah, that's only if you're being a little asshole and I gotta fucking mock you. I'm kidding.
That's fair. That's fair.
No, I'm kidding.
But
I've
yeah,
never done that.
I never. No, it's fine. But yeah, I wanted to have like actual way to drink better at last time because I remember bringing like a glass like bottle of like amaretto and we downed it in like fucking 20 minutes. So I'm gonna bring 2 full flasks this time, and I wanted it to like
They are not gonna last.
look the part. Well, I'm encouraging them to bring their own this fucking time too, so I'm not just
Ah,
playing
good
portable
call on that.
bartender.
No, that looks great. That looks really, really good. Our Renaissance Festival is much smaller scale. I've heard of the Texas one, and that it's massive and like
It's
ours is much
legendary.
smaller. It's 15 minutes from my house though, so that is a very
That's
cool thing.
massive. Oh, I didn't think I answered your
It's awesome.
question. So it's about probably 3.5, 4 hours away
Oh wow.
south. Yeah.
Which it would explain the camping. Okay, that
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense.
I mean, we've done. I think we've done like 1 day visits. Like we didn't want to camp one year, so we went down and we drove back like
Yeah.
mega fucking late.
We
Um,
we've we've
but
been to our Ren Fair twice this year. I kind of like I think this is might be our last weekend or next weekend is I kind of it's so weird. I kind of want to go again. Like even though we've
yeah,
been twice this year, just because like one I'm almost out of honey. And there's a honey vendor at our Ren Fair. And they have some eucalyptus infused honey that is fucking delicious with Earl Grey
that
tea.
sounds amazing. We have a honey
It is
vendor
really
too,
good. They
and
have
it's
so
like
much. They have like
lavender and
blueberry and
eucalyptus infused honey is it goes so well in like black tea, like basic black
oh yeah.
tea. Um,
It's great, and I'm
it's
kinda low because I bought some the
incredible.
first time we went, and I've used it, and it's just fucking delicious.
That's
So,
incredible.
kinda wanna go. They had, like, new food choices this year that were really good. Like, they had some really delicious, tacos, which is obviously not, like, a traditional feel. But I tell you what, and when you were talking about food, I kind of, like, sighed in a longing fashion, and the reason being is, like 4 or 5 years ago, they had a a a baked potato stuffed with broccoli cheddar, like a soup, and
Oof,
it was fucking delicious.
that sounds amazing. They
They
have this.
debuted that and a Scotch egg, and the Scotch egg was
Dude, they have
delicious.
Scotch eggs. Scotch eggs are so fucking good. They run out so
Yeah,
quickly, but they're so good. Uh,
yeah, and they've never had the potato again. I don't know why, but
that's a
they've never
shame.
done that potato again, and I I think about it every
I
fucking
think
day of
about it
my
every
life.
time.
I think
I
about it a lot.
I was mentioning to Gup like, hey, you should come down to TRF, but because I know I know the drive down here was already like really fucking long. I think he
Yeah,
said 7 hours, and he just said, "Oh Jesus,
wild.
that Ren Fair is 9 hours from me," and I'm like,
That's
ah,
when you take
damn.
a plane, my man.
I know, I know. I think he wants to drive, but yeah, if you ever make your, I know it's kind of short notice too, but if you ever make your way down, Gup, you should. I think you would have a keen old time.
You
Because there's a
guys
whole
I remember
feast.
your
We do a
pictures from
feast
last
Saturday
year.
night. The our queen Brooks, he kind of organizes it all. And he buys all the food for the feast. He gets like
Oh,
steaks and vegetables, and he gets all of his kitchen
ooh.
witches together, and they spend like 2 hours preparing everything. Everyone gets in a line to like fill up their foil. They wrap it up and they throw it on whatever fire to have it cook. And then that's what we do. So
What's it
it's,
like to have really fucking cool friends? Is it
dude,
nice?
I'm still not used to it. It is still. I remember because I look, I know
You're
I was,
fucking super cool too.
well, I grew up moving every 3 years. So
Yeah.
I was never part of, like, a friend group. That was always a huge fucking thing
Yeah.
with me. I finally had one in Florida, and then we moved. Uh, Huge fucking
As
thing. We
one
moved
does.
because my parents, because like, they promised me this is the last move, and then my mom made sure we moved anyway. And we just and then I was like, "Fuck it. I'm never gonna have friends." And then, like, we moved on, and then I remember, like, year 3 into this friend group, I felt like I was still, like, the new guy or, like, I was the plus
Yeah.
one. And then I just kind of occurred to me that I've been friends with these guys now for 7 years or 8 years or whatever, and I'm like, "Oh, I guess I do have
I'm a
friends, huh?"
part of the crew.
It sounds fucking nutty, like, but I know for those people who have similar stories know how hard it is to believe that I'm actually part of a group like that, and it's I don't take it for granted, not for one
Yeah.
single day. They're so fucking cool. They're so nice and open, and I think it's why the friend group keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Like the Cuddleberrians, like I feel like I say 80, it might be 100 now. It's fucking massive. Um,
That's all.
we had to move our campground to have more places for parking and, and tents and shit.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Nah,
And
that's awesome, man. I love that. I see that kind of stuff and I'm like, "That's super cool."
I know
I
that's
got
why I'm like talking to you and Gup. I'm like, come, it's fun, because Nolan and Ash came last time and they had a super fun. They had to leave early because I think Ash had a dog emergency, but
Oh,
but
no.
they had a super fun time in the meantime. So highly, and it's nice. I think it's the most at the time fateful encounters people we had in one place. But it was good.
Well, there was discussion about having Chaotic come or at least a couple of members come to
To a
Charlotte.
convention,
You g
yeah.
you guys still can do that. We could do that.
Yeah, I think we got some money in the bank. I mean, my big expenses right now are TRF coming up. I gotta buy airfare for Japan because prices have gone up pretty tremendously. Because I'm going to Japan early next year.
Nice.
Um, and I think that's fucking it. So I'd love to do a flight to Charlotte.
Come on.
We got cool conventions here too.
Yeah.
But we'll see what the oh, I'm going on my motorcycle. I'm going this year. Oh shit, Gup is going.
There you
Holy
go.
hell. I just now saw that.
There you go. Gonna have fun.
That's
So,
incredible. I will come to Charlotte. I bet
hell
you will, Gup.
yeah. Come to
I
Charlotte.
Do you have camping equipment, Gup? Message me. Make sure because we'll make sure you're set if you're not. But cool. Because I think I have a spare tent or two. I own a
I
tent
mean, you
company.
own
I don't know
you
if you know
own a
this, Gup.
camping. Yeah,
Yeah, I
you
have
own
like
this.
160 tents. But anyway, so
Yeah, I did
if
not
anyone
realize
wants
you
a
had that many
tent
tents.
for the low cost of 99.99, I don't know.
Yeah, for the low
But
cost of 99.99, you too can own a
get it the
tent.
fuck out of my garage, please. I bought too many tents. What is that Rick and Morty thing? I bought too many or whatever. Uh,
It's like I just saw a thing that a guy. So this was funny. My wife just showed me the other day. This dude like sunk his life savings into buying 6,000 fidget spinners. He's he's like, please, someone buy them. I bought. I thought it was gonna be a much bigger deal because you remember there was like that
it was a
minute.
big deal.
Yeah, and then it was no longer a big deal, and this guy had like 6,000 fucking fidget spinners. I felt really bad
I
for
would
him.
just at that point, if you have that many, sell them wholesale. So
Yeah,
like I have 6,000 finish spinners for I don't know $1,000. I don't know. I have no idea, but that's insane.
I can't imagine the fidget spinner market is a very lucrative one.
I imagine it was because
It
they're
was for,
because you
like,
can sell
6
them for like
months.
$10, and they're probably oh geez, if I'm just spitballing here, you can probably buy like 600 MOQ, like a minimum order quantity for I don't know $150.
Look at you
200.
busting out terminology.
I don't fucking
MOQ.
know. Not
Yeah.
it's retail's a bitch, especially on those like those trendy things. You have to buy them the second. You almost have to predict if it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Because so many
You gotta
people, they're
know.
like, fidget spinners are huge right now. I'm gonna buy 50 million of them, and all of a sudden, whoop, just like a meme, it's gone. So that's like Salt Bay is popular. I'm gonna make 5,000 Salt Bay shirts,
Yep, and
and
then
everyone's like,
no
we're on
longer
to
popular.
Patrick from SpongeBob.
Yeah,
You
Patrick from
fucking
SpongeBob is
boomer.
the thing.
Yeah,
So, we should probably talk about Halloween versus
I
Christmas.
was just about to bring that up. I saw the title and I go, whoops.
Wow!
Uh-oh.
It's
Okay,
fine.
so yeah, Christmas stuff. They were putting out Christmas. We went to At Home to just to pilfer their Halloween clearance section. It's gone.
Need to do that
It
at
was
Target.
gone.
Really?
No, it was gone a week and a half before for Halloween. Christmas already up aisle through aisle. Insanity. How the
Um, I don't understand it.
religious propaganda. Telling you. Telling you.
It's amazing to me because I feel like it's gotten worse over the years. Like
Yeah,
the time in
we're gonna
which
have unironic summer like Christmas through summer or whatever.
yeah, yeah, like it blows me away because
Yeah.
I'm like, well, wait a minute. I distinctly remember like Christmas stuff would go up like mid-November, like
Yeah.
10
Yeah.
years ago or something. And now it's like I really feel like I saw Christmas stuff the second week of October, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "What the
And yet
fuck is going on?"
but it's fucking tacky to have your like Christmas
Yeah,
stuff up through like January. That's
mhm.
tacky, but
If
not
you have
through
it up on
October.
January 1st, you're a piece of shit.
That's
It's
bullshit.
weird.
Yeah, it's
No,
fucking
it
weird.
is. It is. I still haven't taken all of my Halloween decorations down. Who'd wanna fight Jason or Santa? Jason. Like, no
Jason or Santa?
questions.
I don't know. Santa's immortal.
But so's Jason.
Holy shit! But he's been immortal for less time.
But
Jason's not magical.
is he? Is he not? Can't kill him.
I don't know how big is Jason's chimney.
Is that a euphemism for something?
I mean, I'm just saying, like the whole
He
Ant
lives
Man
in a
and
lake.
Thanos
He
thing. That's
he
all
lives
I'm
in a
saying.
he lives in a lake, so
Well, Santa can breathe water when he wants to. He's got underwater people. He's got to deliver gifts to. He's got
I
to.
feel like you are empowering Santa Claus in a way that he is not empowered.
I am an ableist when it comes to Santa. I'll have you
He
know.
are you a big Christmas guy? Are
I
you
I'm a big Halloween guy, and Christmas is certainly there.
so you're
I don't like
not
the
a Christmas
religious
fan?
undertones.
Oh,
The
fair.
entire tone of Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the
The
vibe. I like the food. I like
yeah,
the smells. I
same.
love the cold. I like that everyone who's normally an asshole has an excuse to not be one. Um,
Or an excuse to be an even bigger one.
that's true. There's a lot of
Why did you
entitlement.
say happy holidays? It's
Yeah,
like,
there's
get
always
fucked.
that. Like, yeah, why say happy holidays? You're making me acknowledge other people than myself. That makes me uncomfortable. Yeah, dude, that's the point. So it's it's fantastic. So yeah, Christmas, I mean, it's fine. I don't like I don't like putting the tree up, but I do it.
I
Great
like putting up
Halloween
the
decor all day long.
I like putting up the tree because we have a lot of ornaments that we've gotten over the years. So it's kind of cool to hang up like, oh, we got this one, the first year of our marriage, or like we got this one when we started dating, or like we got this one in our first apartment. So I enjoy putting up the tree and putting up the ornaments because it reminds me of it's like a walk through our relationship in life. Like,
Wait, apparently the Santa can breathe underwater. Wait, Santa Claus is not Santa Claus. Oh, the really bad American Dad joke. Because American Dad has a running gag with Santa Claus every year, and it's I stopped watching after like season 8, I think.
I haven't watched it in a
Um,
long time.
dude, I love American Dad. I watched every episode like religiously, constantly, and back to back. It was my comfort. Like it's Parks and Rec
Yeah.
now, but it used to be American Dad. Uh,
My one of my comfort ones is King of Queens, but and we've been watching it lately, and then my wife
King
told
of
me that
Queens. How funny.
I love
Interesting.
it's a fun show. My wife was
I
like,
used to
"We've been
watch it.
watching
Yeah.
too much King of Queens. We need to watch fucking something else." And I'm like, "Okay," but I'm
Okay.
like, "We're so close to the end."
I think the last American Dad joke I made was like, "Say something." Clapping. No, I just she starts clapping and she's like, "No, that's clapping. That's doing something. Say something." And she's like, "Clapping." That a girl. And it's very like it's like the inner dialogue. Anyway, sorry. American Dad's a
Yeah.
great show. Anyway, everyone should watch
Okay.
it. But that's kind of our time though. Um
Yes.
Halloween's a superior holiday and Christmas is invasive. That's the verdict.
I
Um
I lo- I love Halloween more. But one of the things that gets me the most excited about Christmas approaching means we are in November, which means that my wife and I start our Lord of the Rings marathon, and we will watch
really,
every. For some reason, every November we watch all the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit movies, and
that's
then
cute.
yeah, don't know
My
why,
wife's never
and
watched
then
Lord of the Rings.
oftentimes, I hadn't done this in a few years, but oftentimes on Thanksgiving, if I am able, I will watch a lot of the Rocky movies. No idea why.
Fascinating. I've been meaning to watch all of the Mission Impossibles. I have no reason. But uh so it's just one of those hyperfixation things, I suppose.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what we do
Um
here.
but yeah, so we'll talk more about hyperfixations next week. I think we
Yes.
had some topics that we wanted to talk about, but we just didn't get to.
It's
So
fine. We'll be here
and
next week doing it.
more to come next week, everyone. Thank you so much for being here.
We definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, guys, and thanks for the active chat, Monkey Man. I see you. I love you. Thank you so much for coming every week. And
Yes,
everyone,
means
we
a
will.
lot to us.
It really does. We'll be back on YouTube. We'll let you guys know in Discord, and don't forget the other half of Playotic. They stream on Twitch on various days at certain times.
Mm.
So come to the Discord
Campaign
for
starting next
announcements.
Thursday.
That's right. And that's all I got. I got nothing else. You?
Just that our campaign is starting next Thursday, the Elkin Wild, that Gup is going to be running. We got some great guests that are going to be playing with us, as well as some Playotic members. Um, I feel like there was something else. Oh, fucking Extra Life this weekend on Saturday. We're raising money for the kids. That's what.
Hell
Holy
yeah.
cow.
That's on Twitch, right?
Um, it's on Twitch. We're gonna be doing, I think it's 3 campaigns, throughout the day at various times. Again, what check the Discord for the specific times. I'll be in one of them. I'm still trying to figure out what horrific meme character that I'm gonna make. So I don't know. I was thinking like Ron Burgundy, maybe. I don't fucking know. Something super dumb. I might play Captain Arshoon. I don't know. That feels like an idea
Yeah.
that I could do. So yeah, Extra Life this weekend, we're raising money for the kids. Playotic as a whole has a goal. We want to hit $500 for the children. Um, Nolan is also going to be streaming and collecting money. He's going to be doing it on his personal channel, and he will be doing a 24-hour stream. So, plenty of opportunity to help the children. There it is. That's all I got.
See y'all next time.
Bye.